Good morning.
Great.
Good to have you, Alfred. Now, I want us to take a look at the page on the allocations to the MDA expenditure allocation for the 2025 budget. In the budget, just for the benefit of viewers, let's put that on the screen. And where exactly does this 2 billion cedis to the presidency that Alexander Afenyo-Markin mentioned in Parliament? Let's take a look at it. This is it. This is the page. Now, let's talk through it. What exactly has been allocation?
So, I hope you can hear me, Alfred.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so I think this issue of the Office of Government Machinery always becomes a point of the politicians politicize it a lot, right? This reminds me of what happened in 2021 as well, between 2020 and 2021, when there was a whole argument about OGM budgets significantly increasing from 2020 levels, right? So I think it's the same thing that's happening here. But of course, there are these different agencies under the Office of Government Machinery. And with, like, I think the Honorable Felix had explained the issue with the national security and the former information ministry getting moved to the presidency or the Office of the Government Machinery. Now, there's also usually a detailed MDA estimates that get published after the budget gets approved and all of that. And usually, even with that, it would break it down by, the Chief of Staff office, the Vice President office, all those different breakdowns. So you actually can get very granular in that breakdown. I think, to me, one of the issues with the I think it has to do with the presentation. So when you look at on my screen, I showed the 2024 breakdown, right? So there's all these different things that were listed there, and then when you look at the 2025 breakdown, it's very little, right? So you see the national security, all right, you see the government communication. So I think that might have been a presentation issue, and then people not waiting to see the MDA estimate also create that confusion. But I think it's something that the politicians politicize a lot. But now if we take a look at what the Honorable Felix said, though, and we try to do the analysis, right? So we know that there was a 10% increase in compensation. So if we take the 2024 OGM, assuming that nothing has moved, right? We take that, all the total, it was at around 326. So we adjusted by 10%, right? We take the former Ministry of Information's budget. Again, we are looking at just compensation because that's where the issue has been. You take the Ministry of Information compensation, then you take the national security's compensation, you adjust all of those by the 10%, assuming that the 10% is across board, right? So if you do that, you still are left with a gap of about 780 million. That is not explained, right? So I think that's one of the things that the government probably will need to clarify, because if we make the argument that, yeah, we move national security, we move information ministry and all the agencies under that, but we look at the headline compensation and then we adjust it. We get to, we're still missing, like I said, we still have a gap of about 780 million.
780 million.
CDs, yes, that is not explained.
I see.
Yes. And so that's that's also one of the issues, right?
So that 780 million CDs bar is what is next to the 2.71 billion. That's the
current compensation. Yes, this is the current compensation. Yes. So basically, this is just showing the
salaries and transfers.
Yes,
essentially.
This is all salaries and pension
for
and
the
stuff.
Office of Government Machinery.
Office of Government Machinery. Yeah.
Okay.